Catholic has at some point or the other heard a priest, religious, or even a lay person refer to the Code of Canon Law. Some may even wonder if it's the same thing as the Catechism of the Catholic Church. So today, we'll be discussing the Code of Canon Law. Welcome to Catholic Faith Forum. I'm May, and when we come back from this break, we'll meet our guest. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Catholic Faith Forum. I'm May, and today we're discussing the Code of Canon Law. We have a very, very important guest in the house today. We have Rev Fr Charles Ukwe, OP, the Socius of the Master of the Order of Preachers for Africa, a canon lawyer, and a former vicar for the Archdiocese of Ibadan. Father, welcome.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you here. So I can see you have plenty experience. How has that been so far?
It's been a good experience studying canon law and serving the church as a canon lawyer. Most of the time we consult for bishops, we consult for priests, for the religious, and then also for lay people. And then, of course, we run the tribunals, the marriage tribunals.
Okay, so that brings us to the topic of today. What is the Code of Canon Law? Yeah,
the Code of Canon Law is the body of laws made by the Pope, that is promulgated by the Pope.
Okay.
And then these laws guide and regulate the relationships within the Catholic Church, and also the celebrations like sacraments, juridical acts of the Church. So they regulate what should be done, how it should be done, and so on.
Okay, so when were these laws created? Is it that it's been passed down from time to time, or it's adjusted and modified over the years?
The church started in the New Testament. There were laws, Jewish laws, prior laws, like the Decalogue, and then there were some laws that came into effect with the first ecumenical council of the church, which is the Council of Jerusalem. And then through the centuries, there have been councils, ecumenical councils that would make policies or laws to take care of particular needs of the church. But also, there were what we call decretals of the popes.
Okay.
Like some places might have some problems or challenges. The Pope will write to admonish or correct or make laws to guide or to take care of particular
certain
problems.
Things. Yes.
So these laws, by 1917, the first Code of Canon Law was promulgated by Pope Benedict the 15th, not 16th.
Not 16th.
Pope Benedict the 15th.
Okay.
But then that served the church until Vatican II, because Vatican II made many theological, there were some theological developments.
So
Vatican
some things were adjusted.
Needed that the first Code of Canon Law of 1917 should be reviewed to bring it in line with the developments that came from Vatican II. So then, while Pope John the 23rd called the council, convoked the council, he also established or commissioned the Code Commission to look into the law, but asked them to wait till after Vatican II. And then by 1966, the Code Commission started work at the end of Vatican II. And so for 17 years, they worked on reviewing the code. And in 1983, Pope John Paul II promulgated the present.
So you're saying there have been several adjustments and modifications over the years. Okay, you mentioned quite a number of people. Who is in charge of making these laws? Who are the people that basically just handle it?
The legislator is the Supreme Pontiff. But to revise the laws, he had to commission theologians, canonists, that's canon lawyers, even scripture scholars, brought them together to reflect and look at the laws of 1917, the 1917 code, and then the developments, theological pronouncements from Vatican II. And then they reviewed and then brought out the present code.
Okay, so can a canon be changed?
Oh, definitely. The church is a living organism. So as we move along, and then there are different challenges every day, new realities that perhaps the way it came out, or a particular canon might not take care of some new reality. So the Pope might make some changes.
Okay.
And only the Pope can do that.
Only the Pope. Yeah. That's a lot of power. Okay, so how many canons are there in the Code of Canon Law?
There are 1,752 canons in the code.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah. Do you know all of them?
I'm supposed to.
Okay, so as a canon lawyer, that is what you should know. So who is a canon lawyer?
The canon lawyer is one who has studied canon law up to licentiate level. When you have a license or you study to a licentiate level, then you have the license to interpret the laws. The church gives you the license to interpret the laws. And interpretation here has to be according to the mind of the legislator.
Okay.
So you can't just interpret it anyhow.
To suit yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so can a lay person be a canon lawyer, or it has to be a priest or religious?
Of course. In my class, when I was doing licentiate to canon law in Washington, D.C., at the Catholic University of America, some of my classmates were lay people.
Wow.
Yeah, and when they graduate with their license, they can work in tribunals, they can work in chanceries, in the dioceses, and so on.
Okay, so I can be a canon lawyer now if I do.
Definitely, if you study it.
Okay, Father, are the laws in the code gotten from the Bible or from society, or where?
Like I mentioned before, there might be some biblical injunctions that you would find in the code, but not necessarily taking what is in the Bible directly, but the Bible influences the code, the Bible, the pronouncements of theologians, and so on.
Okay, so a lot of people make this mistake and confuse the Code of Canon Law for the Catechism. Are they the same thing?
They are not the same thing. The Catechism of the Catholic Church is the teachings of the church, the doctrines, what the church must believe. The Code of Canon Law are laws of the church that tell Catholics how they are to practice, how they are to live their life, and then celebrate the sacraments and so on. So the Code of Canon Law and the Catechism of the Catholic Church, actually
they work side by side.
Yeah, they complement each other. Yeah, it is said that canon law is the handmaid of theology.
Interestingly put. Okay, so Father, are there laws that govern every aspect of human life, or just specific aspects like faith?
In the church, human life, I mean life in the church, not just life outside the church.
Yes.
The civil law will take care of life outside the church, but
definitely
within the church, the Code of Canon Law is supposed to have taken care of every aspect of the church's life as it concerns laws. But nobody is God. We can't know everything. So once in a while, you find a lacuna, something that the law did not take care of. But when that type of thing happens, then it's possible to petition the Code Commission for the interpretation of legislative text. Okay,
Father, so you said there are rules governing life and relationships within the church. Yeah. So I hear about annulment often. So what does annulment mean?
Annulment of marriage is a declaration that the marriage never existed when it was celebrated. So even if a couple lives in marriage or they get married, at least seem to have gotten married, but then lived into marriage 10 years, 20 years, and decided to separate. If that marriage is petitioned to the tribunal looks at what happened on the day of marriage, prior to marriage, the day of marriage, and after marriage. So there are, of course, the church is the one that regulates its sacraments.
Okay.
What makes a sacrament? For example, baptism, you need the material element, which is water. You need the form, which is the words. I baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And the church says if these two are there, the material element of water and the form, baptism takes place. So the same thing with marriage. The church regulates marriage, tells us what makes marriage and what
does not.
If it is lacking, marriage does not exist.
Things like what?
So, for example, let me give you a case study, a situation where a man comes to marry a young woman, a lady, and the lady doesn't love the man, but the man gives the mother of the lady gifts, expensive gifts, and the mother says, "Yeah, you have to marry this man. He's a nice man." But the daughter says, "I don't love him." But the mother pressurizes her to accept the man. So she agrees to marry the man. On the day of marriage, because she doesn't love him, she's saying the words,
but he doesn't mean it.
Yeah, so it means that she didn't give consent. She simulates marriage. If they live like 5 years and the marriage breaks down, they come to the tribunal. We have to go back to find out what happened, why she didn't give consent. And if it's actually that she didn't give consent because she was forced into marrying the man, then the marriage is declared null, meaning that that marriage never existed.
Okay, but during the mass for the wedding, for when they are saying their vows, they ask if they came there willingly. If she could have just said no at that point and
she could have said no, but the fear of the mother, that reverential fear, that led her to even say yes or agree to.
So technically, she didn't have a choice at that point.
Yeah, at that point, she was just acting.
Okay.
Really.
So you're saying even after years after the marriage, it can still be annulled?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh. There are marriages. When I worked in the tribunal in the U.S., there are marriages like 30 years, 40 years, even 50 years that they separated and came for annulment. Okay,
so at what point in the marriage can a couple go and ask for an annulment?
Oh, when it is sure that the marriage has definitely ended, permanently separated, they will never come together again. And for us in the tribunal, the way we could understand or at least know that this marriage has ended is first of all, we want all marriages to last.
Definitely.
Yeah. So there is the need to try to encourage them, especially when they have not really ended the marriage. If it was
to sort through their issues,
to encourage them and ask them to go for counseling and so on. But then, when it is actually ended, for example, there's a divorce certificate, civil divorce, we know that they're not coming back together.
Okay, so are you saying divorce is allowed?
The church does not recognize the civil divorce. Okay. But for us in the tribunal to know that this couple will not come back again. I give an example. When I was working in Ibadan in the tribunal, a case that was handed over to me by the former judicial vicar, I was the judicial vicar of Ibadan. So the case handed over to me. About 6 months into the case, I called the petitioner, asking her that I've not heard from you.
What's going on?
You abandoned your case. So she said, "Oh, Father, I have gone back to my husband." And it would have been terrible if I brought that case to conclusion.
Yes, and it had been finalized. And
whatever they are doing at that point will no longer marry. So it's good to be very sure that they are permanently
Separated.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does the church do in a case where there is domestic violence? Can the marriage be annulled in that case?
Yeah, because then there is a disruption of the well-being of the spouses. You see, when a couple spouses come together, or a man and a woman come together, they want to get married.
Yes.
They pledge to love. I will be faithful to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health and all that. It's a pledge to love, to support, to care for each other, to respect each other, to really express that love. Love can be expressed in a beautiful way. So, but when there's domestic violence, the well-being of spouses is disturbed. Yes. So it could be annulled on that. But that's particularly when it is very violent, and whichever one that is receiving the violence decides
they can't handle it anymore.
I can't go. I don't want to die in this marriage. So he or she decides to separate. And if it is permanent separation, then if it comes to the tribunal, it could be judged on the ground of disruption of the well-being of spouses. That means what was given on the door of marriage has been withdrawn. That's
okay,
what it
so it just take back everything. It never happened.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, let's come back to the topic of today. Sorry, can a lay person, like a person like me, for instance, interpret the law and apply them personally?
Definitely. I mean, our lay people should have the Code of Canon Law. At least read to understand what the church is saying. But there are aspects of the code they can read and understand and practice. For example, that they should go to confession often. That is something they can read and understand. But there are some parts of the code, it's a legal, the Code of Canon Law is a legal book. So it has its own technical aspect that needs interpretation. So there are some aspects of the Code of Canon Law that the layperson may read and not understand. So he could approach his parish priest.
Okay, I was going to ask who we could go to for interpretation.
But no, that's not that wouldn't be the right interpretation.
Okay.
I mean, it might not, because the parish priest might also have some difficulties. Then
interpreting a canon lawyer.
Yeah. And then even bishops in their dioceses have canon lawyers that they consult. And sometimes canon lawyers may not agree. So you have different interpretations, in which case there might be need for an official interpretation from the Code Commission.
Okay.
Established for the interpretation of legislative texts.
Okay, thank you very much, Father. Do you have any last words to us about canon law?
Yeah, again, it's a good book and a legal document. I think what I would say, since we talked about marriage, I would want to see a situation where married people are actually well prepared before getting into marriage. When I was living St. Charles, Arlington, Virginia, during my send-off, the priest said, you canonists, you join them in marriage, you separate them. So, which I know he was joking, but he said something that I kept thinking about. But the fact is that there are many problems in marriages these days. And yet this is something that is supposed to be strengthen relationship between two people, exclusive relationship between two people. But how do they prepare before that day of marriage? So I remember in the past, there were times when some couple would go off on a retreat just prior to marriage, and then prepare spiritually, asking God for help and so on. But I think we need more preparation and more the couple to be more involved in preparing for the day of marriage, not buying things, I'm not talking about
not the physical aspect,
but the spiritual aspect.
Okay, Father. Yeah. The Code of Canon Law is the law and operational policy of the Catholic Church. There are rules about almost virtually every aspect of life and relationship within the church. So rest assured, the church has got us covered. Let's cue to Judith and Collins for today's episode of Know Your Faith.
Welcome to Know Your Faith series. I am Collins.
And I am Judith.
So today we'll be explaining the word novena and why it exists in the Catholic Church. Novena
is a consecutive 9 days devotional worship where devotees make petitions, implore favors, and seek the grace of God. After Jesus' ascension in the Acts of the Apostles, we see that the disciples prayed for a period of 9 days. This we refer to as the novena to the Holy Spirit.
As Catholics, we pray the novena all the time. A novena could be prayed in private or together with a group of people. Now, praying the novena with a group of people helps you to finish what it is that you have started.
We pray novenas to the saints because we believe in asking for the intercession of our brothers and sisters who have gone before us marked with the sign of faith. We can ask for the intercession of St. Jude Taddeus, who is the patron of hopeless cases, and St. Anthony of Padua, who is the finder of lost things.
So Judith, do you pray novenas?
Yes, I do. Personally, I am subscribed to the Pray More novenas. We receive our mail daily. I get mine at 6 a.m. I don't know the other members of the group, but we are brought together by a common desire to pray.
So what if I start the novena now and then I miss 1 day or I miss 2 days? Is there any issue?
Well, there are actually no rules. You can either say 2 prayers in 1 day, okay, or skip the day altogether.
So there are no rules or consequences at all?
Not at all. Just come with a sincere heart.
All right. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Till next time,
be bold, be Catholic.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us today. We talked about the Code of Canon Law. Thank you very much, Father, for being here with us. Hope we'll see you again another time. Yes. For more information, inquiries, suggestions, hit us up on our social media platforms at CFF on TV. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dominican Media Presents for other episodes of the show and to watch this again. Till next time, keep being saints in jeans and shirts.